You know that feeling when you think, okay, I probably should have started this in my 20s. Yep, same. Hello everyone, welcome to Am I Too Late? This is a podcast for late starters who want to build financial confidence and take control of their future one step at a time. I am so happy you have joined me today. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I am your host, Naho. I was born in Miyazaki, Japan, but lived in Manchester, UK, most of my adult life, and now in Montpellier, France, doing things I never thought I would be doing in my 40s. And that includes still trying to remember if a baguette is a boy or a girl. Because learning anything new isn't as easy as it used to be. I'm sure some of you might relate. So, Miyazaki, Manchester, Montpellier. Clearly, I seem to be drawn to the places that begin with M. So you never know. I might end up in places like Monte Carlo, Mauritius, or the Maldives, somewhere by the sea, and definitely tax efficient, and where I can keep practicing my French. A Ghanaian dream. Anyway, speaking of tax, when it comes to money, it feels like most of us were never really taught the basics. Nobody actually explained how it all works, like not in a way that was, useful. We just got told to get a job, work hard, don't spend it all, and hope for the best. And just as you start to get your head around things, it turns out the world of money keeps evolving. Then suddenly AI is everywhere, impacting how we work, how we think, how we live, and even our finances. It's exciting, but also terrifying, especially if you already feel like you're a bit behind. You're not the only one. This podcast isn't about catching up with the hype. It's about tuning out the noise, figuring out what matters, and feeling like, actually, maybe you're not too late after all. So, this is a little bit more about myself and why I am here. I've spent most of my working life in the UK creative industries. You think music, events, and digital, mostly behind the scenes, not the one holding the mic or making the arts. I've also worked in the third sector and education. Meaningful work, but not exactly the kind that build wealth. In those environments, money is not something people really talk about. Because you do it for love, not for money, right? But eventually I realized while I was comfortable with a steady income, it wasn't building me the future I actually wanted. Then I did the math. Pensions, not a lot. Savings, not bad. Properties, yeah, I've got this. But when I saw the full picture, I panicked. Like, shit, this isn't gonna be enough. That was the start of the shift. So I tried to fix it quickly. I signed up for business bootcamp and workshops, desperately searching for a business idea I could launch. But it wasn't easy. I didn't know what I was good at or how to turn it into something people would pay for. And then, one day, I found myself holding the mic, literally. I was hosting an event interviewing a professor, and it was completely out of my comfort zone. But afterwards, a few people came up to me and said things like, "You were great. Oh, that was better than a stand-up comedy. You should start a podcast." Okay, most of those comments came from my close friends, I admit. But still, that encouragement must have stayed with me. Instead of jumping straight in though, I made another move. I decided to fulfill my lifelong dream of living in France. The easiest way? Become a student. Genius. So I applied for an MBA. It was a big, risky, but calculated decision. I loved my job, but I just knew I had to do something before it really was too late. And I kept searching. Around the same time, I started investing, slowly and cautiously, and found myself getting really into it. Not just the money side, but the mindset shift it required. I devoured investment podcasts and business books, trying to figure out what financial independence actually looks like, especially if you're starting late. And then there was AI. I was getting more and more curious. I wanted to be fluent, not left behind. The podcast idea didn't fully click until much later. After I'd moved to France and started working on my personal project. By then, I'd realized something. Most people around me weren't really engaging with this stuff. Investing, pensions, retirement, the future that's getting closer without us really realizing. And AI? People are aware of it. Maybe tried ChatGPT once or twice, but mostly stayed passive. Unsure, wary, like it was something happening around them, not for them. And I just kept thinking, somebody needs to make this feel less intimidating before it all moves too far ahead. That led me to the big question. Am I too late? It's a powerful question, and here's the thing, it's not pathetic or defeatist. Usually it means something in you is ready to begin. I know this sounds a bit cheesy, but honestly, it's true. I found a lot of the personal finance and investing podcasts out there are US-centric, with stuff like 401ks and Roth IRAs that I just couldn't relate to. And most how to invest content seems to be made by or for the people in their 20s who want to retire before 40. I roll. I was that person once. Not sure what happened. Probably just life. Busy having fun and being comfortable. But that's not our story anymore. Our story starts later. Maybe with some baggage or regrets, but also with experience, resilience, and the kind of wisdom that takes time to earn. So, no, you're not too late. And even if you are, start anyway. This podcast isn't here to give you financial advice. I'm not a money expert and I'm not pretending to be. What I can offer is a space to explore the stuff we were never really taught about money, like how to invest, how to get more comfortable with your finances, and how technology like AI is increasingly entwined with all of this. This is for anyone who's just realizing it's time to build their financial confidence, navigating the world of money in our tech-driven age. And That means going beyond just saving for emergencies or holidays, or even putting money aside just for the kids. It's about making your future a priority for change. Like putting your own oxygen mask on first before helping others. No hype, no shame, just real conversations, small steps, and a bit of perspective. In the next few episodes, I'll be talking about the basics you wish you'd learned years ago, like how to really know your numbers, demystifying pensions, understanding different kind of ISAs, and how AI is shaping these areas of your financial life. Some episodes will be just me, sharing what I've discovered. Others will explore practical tools and stories I wish I'd known sooner. This podcast is a learning space for you and for me. It's not polished, but it's real. And I hope you'll come along for the ride. If this resonates with you or somebody you know, please follow or subscribe to be notified when new episodes drop. There's more coming. And if you want to share your thoughts or just say hello, you can find me on Instagram at Am I Too Late Podcast. I'll leave the link in the show notes. Thanks for being here. And to answer the big question, maybe we are a bit late, but we're here now, so let's start today. And before we go, just a reminder, everything I share here comes from personal experience and learning. This podcast is for information only and isn't financial advice. Please do your own research and talk to a professional financial advisor to find what's right for you.